David Robertson. I'm an artist working and living in southeastern Massachusetts. I have a BFA from Montserrat College of Art. I'm primarily an oil painter. I also have been incorporating ancient art making methods in my most recent art pieces. I was interested in making a sculpture of common seaside kitsch, but with fine art materials, juxtaposing the common lobster buoy shape with hand-carved limestone. The idea of a 360-degree painting is intriguing to me. You can never see the entire painting all at once. Therefore, an endless seascape painting on a buoy seemed like an interesting combination. I started with a block of limestone. Limestone is not necessarily native to this area, but I thought it was interesting that limestone is made from the sediment of the ocean. It is, in a sense, all tied together. I shaped the limestone into a buoy shape with a recess for where I was going to make my painting. I filled the recessed area with a translucent wax, which was beeswax mixed with white pine resin that I refined from the white pine trees behind my house. And the wax was locally sourced from a farmer in Middleborough. Finally, I painted a seamless seascape with an infinite horizon around the buoy, finishing the piece and the concept.
For me, beauty lies in the simple and the ordinary, the everyday scenes and objects you pass by on a daily basis. I want the viewer to reconsider everyday life through my presentation of common objects and scenes. I try to portray a unique vision of my subjects so that everyday life becomes a little less invisible. My work consists of representational still life and landscape in acrylic and oil. The work is based in academic fundamentals and a realistic approach, working primarily from life. My strength is in creating a simple design by exploring the division of sky versus ground relationships. I like the contrasts and tensions that occur when juxtaposing objects and shapes, which at first thought may seem to be mismatched. By using a range of palettes, I can explore how color changes the appearance and relationships of objects to one another. My eclectic combinations of color, form, and asymmetrical compositions can give the viewer an alternate perspective on the everyday.
My name is Christine West. I'm an artist from Norfolk, Massachusetts. My work includes acrylic painting, monotype printing, and collage. I love to create abstract and impressionistic art. It has inherent energy and movement. Depending upon a viewer's mood, their memories, lighting shifts throughout the day, the piece never remains in the moment. It continues to tell a story, sometimes very personal, sometimes detached, but always provoking new perspectives, always changing with each view. When I create a collage, I refer to a stockpile of papers that I've compiled from my own rice paper monotypes, acrylic paintings on paper, sketches, as well as newspaper and magazine scraps. I begin to arrange those disassembled pieces by tearing and cutting them, shaping them, trying to fit them, trying to discover connections between the disparate pieces with the goal to ultimately create compositions of textural interplay and abstract impressions. I'm inspired by music, particularly the chaos and structure of jazz, love nature, birds, cityscapes and modern architecture, the interplay of color and light on the glass and steel of the buildings in the city is just phenomenal. I love the artists of the abstract impressionistic period, mid-century and postmodern artists. I'm inspired by their works, reference a lot of their material to get inspiration for my next pieces.
Why make art? The simple answer is I've always loved to draw. At first, I draw whatever was in my head. As I studied art and learned to draw formally, I understood I hadn't truly seen something until I took the time to sit and capture it on paper. The act of drawing formed an awareness and connection to that landscape, tree, or flower before me. And I've always enjoyed time alone, to observe the natural world, the colors, shapes, light, and shadows. Nature evokes emotional responses, memories, a sense of deep connection to all creation. Every art form is a window into our shared human experience. Seeing, considering, and feeling inspire the artist. Their art creates a new connection to others. A few years ago, I took a workshop to help establish a daily painting practice. We painted flowers with basic materials. I got hours alone in my studio to concentrate on capturing a still life, a bit of nature's shapes, colors, light, and shadow. There, the worries and cares of the world melt away. I've been painting daily for 3 years, and the practice has led me to explore more ways of making art through new materials, new ways to respond to nature, new ways to draw expressively, and new avenues for creating more human connections through the window of art.
Hi, I'm Margot Lemieux. I'm really excited to be included with the wonderful artists here. In this exhibit, I have 3 prints. The first is titled Typhoon Haiyan on Ha Long Bay. I was in Vietnam during the Typhoon Haiyan, which was one of the most powerful tropical cyclones ever recorded. And you know, storms are frightening even without being 8,000 miles away, in a country where you don't speak the language. Fortunately, the storm lost some of its impact before hitting Hanoi, but the experience left a lasting impression, especially when I was thinking of the people who live on the small boats in the bay. I immortalized it in my etching, which is technically a monotype, meaning I used the etching plate, but the ink and the color were applied uniquely, so it's one-of-a-kind print. Then the second print is called Kitty Cat. It's a lino cut. It speaks directly to the spirit of 2020 because it is at its heart yin and yang, about balance, about opposing forces, about how a pair of kitties can put it all in perspective. Or, as my friend Raleigh Brown, who is one of my favorite musicians, says, if you get cranky, take a nap. Finally, I have called Singing the Blues. It's a mixed media transfer print and watercolor, and it was drawn during a ceilidh, which is when musicians get together in someone's living room. So I was right in the middle of the music, experiencing it in an intimate way. My arts practice at the moment is mainly printmaking, I'm currently a member of Boston Printmakers and Full Tilt Print Studio, which was formerly EES Arts, a cooperative professional studio in Hyde Park where I do etching the old-fashioned way on copper plates. And my arts practice also includes drawing, painting, book arts, which is bookmaking and altered book sculptures. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up, so I alternate between art and writing stories and poetry and editing and doing more art. Do come and visit the True Grit Gallery. It's a beautiful place with lots of great art.
I share my vision of the commonplace by making photographs of landscapes, objects, and portraits, intuitively looking for visual interest, irony, and inherent beauty.
I'm interested in our changing relationships with the urban and suburban environment and the ways which we adapt and find meaning.
Every artist seeks to convey something in their art. It can be very personal or emotional. The image can make a statement about their philosophy or values, but whatever the artist photographs or paints, somewhere in the final image is their intention, what they're trying to say. Most of my images ascribe to a world different than the one we live in, one deep within our souls, one without the harsh entanglements this world has to offer. I believe that world exists and quietly shows some of itself every day. It is my intention to express it in my images. If I were to describe what inspires my photographic images, I would have to use the word intuitive. More times than not, it's what I see. By that I mean how the light bathes the subject, the beauty or other qualities of the subject, or a combination of both. I attempt to capture visually what I'm experiencing viscerally.